Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-1305. That's 800-291-1305. 800-291-1305.
Free speech lives here. With Dom Giordano, weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
We are back. Barry Sable sitting in for Dawn. What a privilege. My guest, Dan Quagliar, I probably don't ever say that right. Steve DiOrio, Beth Sawyer. Beth, I want to let you wrap up because I really am concerned, and it upsets me about what's going on in North Carolina. Give me a minute or so and wrap me up with that, please.
So the same family that lost their loved ones of the husband and the brother, they were approached by FEMA to sell their land. The woman was told she cannot rebuild there. It was now in a flood zone, and she corrected FEMA and said, I did not lose my home in a flood. I actually lost it in a mudslide.
Unbelievable.
As I was talking to her daughter, she was letting me know that there was a old mining facility underneath the land, and the access to that mining facility was on this woman's land. FEMA had reached out. They wanted to buy it for pennies on the dollar. And I've heard that from a lot of people down there, that FEMA was trying to buy up the land. I heard they were taking their lands, their livestock. So I heard it directly from the people that are living there. And again, I'm going to say it. These are some of the poorest people that were the hardest hit by this hurricane.
Isn't that always the way it is? It seems like the most economically challenged people end up with these kind of miseries, and we're just not there to support them. That upsets me.
Well, they were very, very grateful, and they wanted me to tell everyone that has donated, thank you so much. It meant the world to them to see the gratitude. It was a very somber setting because we had people telling their stories, but then once they had no idea that we had the fundraiser for them.
Wow.
They could not believe that donations were given from all over. They just felt like they were being forgotten, and we reminded them that they are not being forgotten. We're going to keep raising money for them, and we're going to help them get back on their feet.
Hey, Dan, couldn't she be on TV as an investigative reporter?
I think she'd make a great investigative reporter.
I vote yes.
Listen, Mr. Investigative Reporter, I have something for you.
What's that?
I'm going to give it to you.
All right.
Johnny Marks, let me read it because I don't want to mess it up. A songwriter put Rudolph's story to music life. History notes that Bing Crosby was given the first crack to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as you know. But Gene Autry recorded the song after Crosby turned it down. I'm not done. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Songwriter Hugh Martin was fooling around with a little melody back in 1944, but it wasn't working, so he played it for 2 or 3 days and then threw it in the wastebasket. His songwriting partner, Blaine, told NPR in 1989, Blaine made himself get it out of the trash, and it's a good thing the song ended up, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. One more investigative reporter, Dashing Through the Snow. What we know, Jingle Bells began life as the one-horse open sleigh. The songwriter James Lord Pierpoint of Medford, Massachusetts, didn't plan it as a holiday tune. He wrote it on Thanksgiving in 1850. How's that for investigative reporting, sir?
Pretty good. I'm impressed.
Steve, I don't know if you're familiar. Biden on the 25th, or I guess the 24th, the eve of Christmas, tried to be a good guy on the way out, and he signed 50 bills, including one backed by Paris Hilton. Are you familiar with that by any chance?
Cha-ching. Well, Paris Hilton has lobbied for years. She was abused.
Yep.
Her parents put her in a private institution, and she was abused there. The parents were, pie in the sky is the greatest place, but when she actually resided there, there was a lot of abuse. So she has been an advocate, and it's amazing that she stuck with it for over 10 years, and now we have laws that are going to be protecting our children in these facilities.
Yeah, so let me tell you what that exactly is. She's involved with Stop institutional child abuse and an act for that. So I have to tell you the truth. That's one thing that was done. Mr. Biden also showed sensitivity to all Americans. He made the the bald eagle, the national bird in signing. Are you familiar with that, Mr. Cuellar?
No, I'm not.
If not, then let me go to somebody who's. Beth, do you know anything about that? No, you were practicing lighting the candles.
I do.
know
I eat
that.
a turkey. They're related to eagles, right?
There you go. Yes. Other laws addressing longtime standing controversies, including hazing on college campuses. Okay, I'm coming to you, Dan, in a second. Pay attention.
All right.
The Stop Campus Hazing Act is the first federal anti-hazing legislation approved by Congress on the heels of several high-profile deaths on college campuses. Can you respond to that one? No. Okay, next. Steve Diorio, you're next.
Hazing has been going on for, I think, 100 years since we've had these major universities. Problem is, it's now shifted from hazing to attacks on Jewish students. This is an outrage. If you burn an Israeli or American flag on a campus and pull down the American flag and put up a Hamas flag, that's a criminal act. You should be charged with arson if you burn those flags. These poor students, they're Jewish. They shouldn't be punished for their nationality. It's a disgrace. And now that we have Trump in the White House, that is going to change. Big league, as he used to say.
Yep.
Yes.
Beth, Biden's commutation in kids for cash scandal angers some Pennsylvania families. By any chance, are you familiar with that?
Absolutely. I'd
Tell
be
us.
very, very angry. Here were these judges that were working along with these juvenile facilities that they were getting cash for kids. So what would happen, there was one instance where it was, I don't know if it was a soccer player or a baseball player, was underage drinking and went in front of the judge and was sent away to one of these facilities, and he ended up killing himself before he had to go.
That's true.
I can't even imagine what the mother is going through. These are our children.
Yep.
Those people, there's a certain place for the people that have put these kids away that have been traumatized for doing stuff that we probably all did when we were kids. And the fact that these people, these men, were capitalizing off of this poor youth and their family is disgusting.
Yeah.
They should not have been pardoned. President Biden's up to what, almost 10,000 pardons, where President Trump didn't even give 200. He's pardoning some of these people on death row.
Yep.
But as we all know, as we sit here, that President Biden is not of sound mind.
He's not the sound mind. And the guy hasn't been making decisions since he was elected.
So it makes you wonder, Dan.
Who's making the decisions?
Exactly.
All these pardons, who do you think it is? You always say on your radio show
Pardon
that
me.
Obama's running the strings.
Oh.
He's the puppeteer. He's the one that's controlling what's going on in America. And all these pardons, they're inexcusable.
It's his third term,
Why
Barry.
would you pardon a judge who did what he did?
Barry.
And convicted, by the way. This is not an opinion.
Absolutely.
He was convicted.
Hard to get
and
in a
found
word
guilty,
in edgewise.
and this is what he did.
You're caught
I
in
love
between,
it, though. It's
Steve.
crossfire.
Go ahead.
Hey, listen,
Why?
I need
Why
to
did you
share
do
these
that?
numbers. I did a little research because I knew Dan was busy with his Christmas yesterday. Barry, you were busy. Here's some research. Carter pardoned 566 either pardons or commutations. Then you have Clinton, 140, and other several commutations, 1,500 Joe Biden, and 39 that were convicted of nonviolent crimes. Ronald Reagan, 406.
Wow.
Bush, 75 with 3 commutations. Bush, 43, pardoned 200 people in the commutations. Donald Trump, 74, plus 70 others who their sentences were commuted. Now, Biden, you total up Biden's, and they're still coming at us. And look at what the last, 4 or 5 presidents, Biden's way up the charts. And it's not Joe Biden that's doing it.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
that's what's scary.
And
Dan.
Liz Cheney's still waiting for her pardon because she's in big
Yeah.
trouble.
I
don't know if you've
just
seen
wish that
congressional
the
report.
right would stop talking about Liz Cheney, let President Trump get sworn in, and then bring up the January 6 stuff, because there would be no reason for them to want to pardon her. You have to keep your cards close to
Close to the vest.
Close to the vest.
They
Do
love
not.
that in Jersey.
We have to
That's
stop
not what-
telling
Close to
them
the
what we're
vest.
doing.
That's
Here's how
not
they
what
do
the
it in
Godfather said. He said you keep your friends close, but your enemies
Enemies
closer.
closer.
Right?
Right.
That's it,
Absolutely.
Beth. And I agree with you. What are your thoughts, guys, on the Biden commuted people that are on death row? I watched on TV the other day. It kind of broke my heart right before Christmas that a mom was talking about her daughter that was like 12 years old that was murdered by one of these guys that were on death row. That really broke me up inside to see this. And these guys, can I tell you something? Well, look, I don't know if you believe in capital punishment or not. That's another conversation necessary for another day. But that was really a harsh thing right before the holiday. These and the mom came on and said, listen, A jury of 12 decided on death penalty. And you're taking a lot of these people's, I don't know, how would we say it, Dan? And their thoughts of what happened to their kids, and somebody's here commuting these people. I don't know. I'd love to hear from listeners, 855-839-1210, to see what other people think. If that happened to you, how would you feel?
Barry, I have to say, we're all acting like we're surprised here. This is a president. This is an administration that has allowed millions of illegals. And you're talking about the cartel. We're talking about gang members from El Salvador. Prisons were just released. They're bad people, and they were brought here pretty much open-handed, given the keys to the United States to just reign their terror. So to me, I'm not surprised at all. I just keep saying January 20th can't come fast enough.
Yes, indeed.
Listen, guys, we have a call. Frank from South Philly. You're live on the air with Uncle Barry. What's going on, my brother? Merry Christmas. Frank, do we have you? We don't have him? Oh, he's gone. So, he'll be back. We'll get him. Guys, Trump says he'll end daylight saving time.
Good
Daylight.
riddance.
What are your
Good
thoughts?
riddance.
What are your thoughts on that?
I hate
Dan?
daylight savings time. I hate it, and so this is a great news. He's done all kinds of great things. He's talking about the Panama Canal with the Chinese trying to take control of the Panama Canal. In fact, you heard Trump. I don't know if you saw his Truth Social this morning. He says, "Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are loving are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago. Always making certain that the United States puts in billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything." Trump wrote. But guess what's going to happen when he takes office?
Yes, I agree. Listen, guys, I want you to hold your thoughts.
Okay.
Let's take a break while we can. You have been listening to the Dawn Stensland Show, sitting in studio, Barry Sable, with Brother Dan, Brother Steve, and Beth. I love you. I have had a crush on you for the longest time. You don't know it, but I just want you to know it now, live on the air. You are welcome. Let's take a break, Jim.
I'm Bill, and I'm living with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a type of interstitial lung disease that causes scarring of the lungs and makes it hard to breathe. ILD can be hard to diagnose, so if you're out of breath with a constant dry cough, ask a pulmonologist if it could be ILD. My wife Bev and I have walked every step of this journey together. I couldn't have traveled this road alone, and neither should you. Get help, find hope. Go to lungsandyou.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
AAA says today could be record-setting for travel, whether in the air or on the roads. A 13-year-old and an older relative are injured after being shot while leaving a restaurant in South Philly. And police look for a hit-and-run driver who killed a pedestrian at 3rd and Snyder in South Philadelphia.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
For the area's finest dining experience with fabulous cuisine, extensive wine list, and waterfront views of the Philly skyline, visit the River Winds Restaurant in West Deptford, New Jersey. Enjoy entrees that feature certified Black Angus steaks and the freshest seafood while overlooking the Delaware River. River Winds can host your next special event. They'll plan your holiday party, family gathering, or corporate meeting in one of their newly renovated waterfront rooms, each with a private deck. For an incredible dining experience or special event, theriverwindsrestaurant.com.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
Yes, indeedy, we are back, 1210 WPHT, sitting in for Dawn. More Barry Sable and Friends straight ahead. Listen, Frank is back on the air. Frank, what's going on? Hope Christmas was well for you.
It was fantastic. A lot of food. Us Italian people like a lot of food Christmas time.
Well,
and
tell
holidays.
us, what did you have, Frank? Come on, break it down. And do you have any leftovers?
We had, plenty of leftovers today, but
send me the address. You got 4 people here that are still hungry.
That's right.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm planning on coming up here,
and
I'm going to bring you an Italian tray with gabagool, supersod, cheese from Italy.
Oh, wow.
And another delicacy is called mortadella, I'm going to bring up some bread, and I'm going to bring up a few bottles of wine. But you can't drink wine when you're on duty there. That's one rule that I have.
Listen, I'm going to tell security you're on your way. I'll see you within 20 minutes or so. Go ahead. What's on your mind this Christmas Eve after?
Well, I like to discuss that the people down here with the hurricane and stuff like that, the victims of the hurricane, they're not receiving no real true federal government assistance down there. And it's basically sounding like back in the 80s when the government did all the farmers back then in the 80s. They built them up to turn around, buy new equipment and everything else, build up the farmers over in the Midwest. And the wind-up was that they voided a contract. They didn't turn around and fulfill the contract for them farmers. And the wind-up was that the Chinese government and the Japanese government bought up all the farmland, most of the farmland over there anyway. They filed bankruptcy on them farmers over there. And basically what they're doing over here now with the hurricane, they're not giving $350. You can't even buy a television today for $350.
Yeah,
that's what they're giving them.
Yeah. Beth, why don't you respond to him? You were there. Frank, listen, thanks so much for the call. Healthy and happy New Year. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Stay in touch. Go ahead, Beth.
Thanks for calling in, Frank. Merry Christmas. Frank's right. There's a lot of people they were offering $750. Keep in mind, as they're sending billions to Lebanon and to Ukraine and all over. And these people, the red tape, a lot of them didn't have any way to access online because they were telling them to go online and make the application. Or if they went and met with FEMA, they'd have to go through the process. A lot of them didn't even qualify for the $750, so they were giving them half. And then if you read the red tape, it says they have to pay the money back.
How did they pay their mortgages, Beth?
How absurd.
Of course. How are they going to pay their mortgages?
It's shocking.
And you know what? These are the things that we know about Ukraine, and we hear it, all the time that Biden was giving. But I don't know if you saw this, but Rand Paul released his annual Festivus report highlighting all the money that we spent on craziness. Listen to this. Washington spent nearly $300,000 to create affinity groups among bird watchers based on who they are and how they identify. Over $400,000 to determine if lonely rats seek cocaine more than happy rats.
Wow.
$3 million to encourage Brazilian girls to become climate leaders. $12 million on a Las Vegas pickleball complex, and $20 million on Sesame Street in Iraq.
Steve, is this all going to come to an end with this next administration? Is Vivek going to put up with this? Is Musk going to put up with this? Or is enough enough?
I'll tell you what, things are going to happen real quick and fast and furious, as Donald Trump likes. Problem is, we have senior citizens who are struggling, can't pay their Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C, Part all this. It's crazy. They can't afford dentures. They can't afford their prescriptions, putting on credit cards. But our focus has been, let me just say real quick on the border. For 4 years now, the Mexican cartels have had complete, full operation of our border. And Barry, you visited there. You saw firsthand.
I did.
We have, Trump says 21 million entered this illegally, our country. I believe that because the government says, 8. The government says 8, that means 16. But the reality is there's 325,000 missing young children, migrants. And where are they? Sex trafficking?
We have a special caller. Caller, you identify yourself. You are live on the air with Uncle Barry and your friends. Go ahead, sir.
Well, it could be Bill Clinton.
I know this voice.
That ain't him. That ain't one down, 9 to go. Go ahead.
So it's a big fan of the Barry Sable
and friends. Go ahead.
On the air.
There you go.
And it's a big fan of Steve and Dan and Beth.
Yes.
And I want to, first of all, congratulate you all for the heroic work you've done regarding the folks down in the Carolinas and the ongoing work you do on the media.
Yeah,
it's your local firefighter and fire chief Kurt Weldon.
Yes.
Originally from Marcus Hook.
Yes. Kurt Weldon.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Kurt.
A big fan of Dawn Stensland also. Dawn and Larry have been friends of mine since way back when I was on the county council. And so I just wanted to call in and congratulate you all for the great work you do and let you know that you've got to now redouble your efforts because I'm still fearful that, and we only have 25 days to go before the inauguration, and I hate to say this, I'm still fearful there are going to be attempts to stop Donald Trump from taking office.
I agree.
Hear,
I said
hear.
this, Barry, on your show
Yes, you did.
months ago, and I told you
You scared
what I
me,
thought would
Kurt,
happen.
to be honest with you. You did.
Scared all of us.
Yeah.
Kurt, you actually said that back when we were on
In
this
May.
show with Barry in May. You actually, and you scared us
He
all.
predicted it.
Because you said this without reservation, and we all looked at you, and we said, man, this guy's for real. He's really, and sure enough, a month later, we had the first attempt.
Yep. Go ahead,
These aren't
Kurt.
accidents, and these aren't accidents. You need to understand, this has been going on for 30 years. It started in the Clintons when I was in Congress, and what happened when 9/11 occurred, that's when all hell broke loose. The Patriot Act was passed by the Congress that gave the Congress exponential, not Congress, the bureaucracy, exponential authority to spy on people, to get more money. All the agencies multiplied without the proper oversight control. Well, that's now totally out of control. And all of those bureaucrats running those agencies, and you talk about Homeland Security, and as Dan knows, I've been on almost every disaster in the country over the past 30 years, from Hurricane Katrina to Hurricane Andrew, the Loma Prieta earthquake, the World Trade Center bombings in '93 and '01, the Wildland fires in California. It's not what it was.
No.
And FEMA today is a nightmare. It's not there helping people. It's there to see what bureaucrats and what private contractors can get money out of FEMA that basically should be going to these people that are suffering. And thank goodness you went down there, Beth, and you raised money, Steve, to help these people out. That's what FEMA should be doing. They should be there helping, not looking to reward their friends that have private companies and nonprofit groups where they can shove money in to give people salaries. That's not what FEMA is all about, and that's not what it should be doing. So my fear is we have 25 days.
Yep.
The American people need to remain vigilant. The only person in America right now that can make the change that's necessary for this country is Donald Trump.
Yep.
It's because he's not beholden to the machine. He's not beholden to the deep state. He's not beholden to either party. The party leadership, and I have no respect for the party leadership in either party right now. The party leadership, they don't want Donald Trump. And that's why you saw Cheney, and that's why you saw Obama, and that's why you saw even the Bushes not support Donald Trump, because they know what's coming. And the deep state, behind the scenes for all of us, they know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump needs to take office. If he doesn't, we got big problems, folks.
I agree.
As much as I like J.D. Vance, he's not the leader of Donald Trump, and he doesn't have the stamina, the reach, and the power that Donald Trump has. So the next 25 days are critically important for us to have him take office. And he needs to understand he's got to continue to put this team together, that if something happens to him, that team will take over and demand full accountability.
Kurt Weldon, you remind me of the movie Brubaker with Robert Redford. I don't know if you ever had a chance to see it. Prison Warden, where he uncovered all of the dead bodies that existed in the penal system in that particular prison. I want you to know something. I want a commitment from you right now. You were on my show before. I want you to promise me that you will come back in. You know so much of history from 9/11 going on. You were a real treat that day. I know you had to come with Dan. Can I tell you something? He wouldn't let you on the show without me. Your girlfriend, I know that. But you have to promise me that you'll give me another hour of your time. I know this place is not. I know it's not that appealing. Tasty cake, rack, and water. But you know something? That's the best we could do here at 1210 WPHT.
No, I will be glad to come back on your show. I'm trying to get a podcast going. Dan's been very helpful with it.
But I don't want to suffer because of that, my friend. You try over there, but I need you.
I will come back on your show, and we're going to be. Hopefully, Trump's going to. It looks good. I've been talking to Susie Wiles. It looks like we're going to do the first White House conference on firefighters and EMS in the country's history in the first quarter of next year. 7 major initiatives for firefighters nationwide.
Proud
of you. The big thing is, I want the 8th one. I want a new independent task force to relook at 9/11. Let me tell you, folks.
Yes.
When we get an independent task force, and I've emailed Kash Patel on this, and I've gone down and briefed the staffers of all the leadership coming in to Trump's cabinet. When we look at 9/11, and when you see what we knew beforehand, what was stopped and prevented beforehand, what occurred on 9/11, and who some of the terrorists were on the payroll of.
Don't give up all this information. I want this for my show.
After 9/11, it's going to make you say, "Is this really the America that we all grew up in?" And we're not after any people. Look, we're not out to hurt anybody
No, of course
personally.
not.
But the country right now is out of control. The bureaucracy after 9/11 gathered so much control that they feel they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And as long as they have a puppet in there that they can control, that the person that, like Barack Obama, shoots the hoop and talks the talk.
Yep.
And
Kurt,
there's someone they can manipulate behind the
One
scenes.
second, Dan.
they're
We've got
continue.
another call I got to go to. Go ahead, right before the break.
Kurt,
Go ahead,
what
Dan.
do we have to do? I mean, you got to clean up the CIA. You got to clean up the FBI. You got to clean up the NSA, right? I mean, I'm talking like
absolutely.
really, really deep clean, not just the two people at the top.
Yeah, and the only one that can do that, it's got to be the president. I like the appointment he's making, but the members of Congress, they're all surrounded by staffers. And I worked in Congress for 20 years. The staffers are all looking for new jobs. Anybody can buy them off with a job offer. They can say, hey, work with us, and down the road you're going to get this or that. It's got to be dependent on people that are strong. They can't let the staffers dominate the agenda. And that's got to start with Trump. I told Susie Wiles, I said, you're the linchpin, Susie. And Susie worked for two members of Congress. She worked for Jack Kemp, and she worked for Tilly Fowler, both good friends of mine. Tilly was on my committee on armed services from Jacksonville. Tilly gets it, but we've got to give him the support. He's got to get these nominations through. I would tell you where you can really play a big role is get your listeners to put the heat on Fetterman to come out and support the nominees of Donald Trump for the cabinet positions. People like Pete Hegseth, and especially Pete Hegseth in defense, and also Pam Bondi for the Attorney General.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep. Guys,
Tulsi Gabbard for
I got to leave you go, Kurt. Don't give away all the goodies. I'm going on vacation. When I come back, I'm looking forward to having you. A healthy and happy New Year. I want it all. Letitia, you too, my friend.
Merry
Thanks
Christmas,
for the call.
Kurt. Merry
Letitia, believe it or not, guys, from Brazil. Tudo bem? Como está? How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Uncle Barry.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. What's going on, my friend? You're in Brazil, am I correct?
Exactly. I'm calling from São Paulo, Brazil.
Wow.
Hello, everyone on the show.
Yes.
I actually get to listen.
Hello.
And
You listen all the way to Brazil?
I'm calling all the way from Brazil. Yes.
And you listen, yes. Tell us what's going on in Brazil and what you do.
Sundays.
Yeah, oh, you do listen on Sundays. Wow.
Exactly.
Uncle Barry's universal, boys. Go ahead.
Exactly, guys.
Go ahead. Tell us what's going on.
I know you guys are talking about very important things. I've been listening to the show. I'm an educator. I live here in Brazil, even though I lived in the U.S. And since we're all talking about wishes for the new year, I think it's something really important that we remember how important it is to bring education that's focused on character, on values, on love, back to the center. And I think everybody all over the world, in Brazil, in the U.S., all kids deserve that. And I know you guys have a lot of very smart and amazing people listening, so I just wanted to put in a good word for making sure that for next year and few years that we're able to put every student back in the center and making sure education is in a great place.
Dan, I know you have a question. This young lady's from Brazil, St. Paulo. Go ahead.
Wow. You know, you saw all that money I pointed out that Rand Paul found we were spending on crazy stuff. And our education system really
Just
sucks.
as an educator down there.
And we really need help.
Yeah.
And not to the unions, because that's where the money goes. And then they funnel it back to the Democrats.
Yes.
We really need money to actually go to our educational system to educate our children. What are we now? We've fallen to like 10th now in best education systems. We're like number 10, I think.
Might be worse than that.
Might even be worse than that. So, I mean, I applaud our educators who really do want our next generation to be the smartest they can possibly be. And I want our money to actually go to education and not to the unions. That is ridiculous. That is why we are in the mess that we're in today, part of the reason. And so that's got to stop.
Letitia, before I let you go, I'm almost up against the break. Any last thoughts for us, from Brazil to us in America?
I think what you just said about making sure that the money gets to the students, to the classroom, to the teachers is very important. I think that's all over the world. So let's make sure that what's happening in the classroom is the best that can happen. There's a lot of intermediaries there in the middle that maybe should be focused on the student well-being. So you guys have my support on that as well. I think just one last thing, Uncle Barry.
Yes.
I hear you come down to Brazil a lot.
I do.
So don't be a stranger. When you do, come say hi. You have a big following down here.
Thank you, my friend. Listen, yo tengo mucho amor para Brazil and the personas de Brazil. I will see you soon. Have a healthy and happy New Year. Thanks so much for calling, Letitia. Jim, looks like we're up against the break. Time's flying, guys. You have been listening to the Dawn Stensland Show with my special guests, Steve Diorio, Dan Quagliar, Beth Sawyer. You are listening to Barry Sable. We'll see you on the other side.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
These unidentified drones that are flying over New Jersey, they're saying they should declare some kind of a state of emergency.
Here's a marketing idea. I know yesterday was the sales day, so this probably won't be heard for another 6 days. We need to have a Kale and Company drone watch party.
Oh, boy.
We gather wherever these are. We'll go to Jersey, get mulligans on the line. Yeah. We're all going to sit outside, put the fire pits on. We'll have some drinks, and we'll watch drones.
Johnny Z, are you listening, buddy?
Let's go.
Open up mulligans. Let's do this, buddy.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Crash-proof consumers enter the new year worry-free because their portfolios are earning double-digit interest returns with none of the downsides of investing in the market.
Roseanne Fitzgerald, Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. Going into 2025 with Crash Proof, we earn 20% interest, which is credited. What we've earned can never be taken away.
Marilyn Becker's, Malvern, Pennsylvania. The 13% and 20% returns we received this year gets added to the principal. There's no fees, and you can sleep at night. You can't get that on Wall Street.
Paul Wirtz. I'm from Philadelphia. I earned 24% this year. No matter what happens in the future, this year or next year, I know that my principal is protected, my retirement is secure.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn, January 22nd, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Make your home renovation dreams come true with Emmons Remodeling.
We handle everything from concept to completion, delivering beautiful, functional spaces for you and your family to enjoy.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts ensure your project is completed on time and on budget.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy. Steve Diorio, the beautiful Beth Sawyer. Oh, man, we have a crush on this girl. Dan Quagliar, you are back with me. Dawn Stensland Show. Barry Sable sitting in for Dawn. Steve, Letitia mentioned schools. I want to read you something that one of our listeners sent in. Perhaps schools need to do a better job starting with elementary grades, teaching kids about privilege and to learn about candidates. How do you like that? Importance to vote in elections and the power of becoming involved to create a better society. You know, I thought that was pretty cool. Why can't there be a class on politics of that nature, Steve?
You know what? Full disclosure, you did say that Dan was beautiful during the break. So, but getting back to reality, I was served on the Board of Education
not
in
Dan,
Evesham.
Dawn. Get
the
it right.
president of the school board in Evesham Township. Learned a lot about budgets in the short 3 years I was on. And we got kids in the city now who are graduating in high school, 11th and 12th graders who can't read on a 3rd and 4th grade level. It's not how much we're spending per pupil, it's where the money is going. And that's key.
Yep.
It's, you know, they get these bond referendums to build new schools, build additions. And then 5 years later, the growth of that community drops off, and then we have empty classrooms. We should be spending the money. Someone needs to be watching it. Someone on the state level. We need to do away with the Department of Education on a federal level. Give those block grants to the states. Let the states carve up the cash for this. For
Go ahead,
school funding.
Dan. I know you want
No,
to
I mean,
comment.
he's
Go
right
ahead.
about the useless Department of Education with all these crazy programs that they come up with, created, by the way, under Jimmy Carter. This Department of Education didn't exist before then. Yes, absolutely. They need to get rid of the Department of so-called Education.
Yes. We have a call, guys. Pastor Pamela, you're live on the air with Uncle Barry and my crew here today. What's on your mind, young lady?
I dare not call you Uncle Barry. I just call you my brother Barry.
Yes.
Barry, I love you. Dan, I love you. I miss you. I miss being out there. I just glad that I could finally catch my big brother on the radio.
There you go.
Been knowing Barry for a long time. My mother, my sister, all of our entire family. I think my dad, Barry,
Yes,
made a couple trips down there.
Don't make me cry. You're going to date me, my friend. Yes.
Oh, man.
Dan Quelliar,
Christmas was our time.
I think you know Pastor Pamela. Am I correct?
I do know Pastor Pamela. We go way back. So many stories, so many issues that we covered, so many families impacted by the psychological trauma of violence that affects not just the direct victims, but indirectly the other people in the neighborhood. And Pamela, you and I have had many a conversation about these things.
Yep.
Many. And to hear you talking about education, you know that's my baby.
Yep.
And we did some things in 12 to dismantle a school board that wasn't really actively caring about the children in the city.
Right.
So you're on the subject that I love and is dear to my heart, was dear to my mother's heart.
Well,
and I'm just glad to be able to call and say, I love you, Barry.
Yes,
you're
thank you.
my family. You've been my family for many, many, many years.
Thank
I
you.
can remember us coming down Christmas, just picking up packages and a bottle of Dom Perignon.
Oh, yes. Yes. Listen, let's brag about Sable Diamonds. It's been 20 years, what it was like for you, your mom, your sister, your dad, I mean, your family. It was glorious times in Sable Diamonds. When you guys came in, I had to just lock the door, kick everybody out because I know big money was coming my way. Big money.
You did, man. We went back in our cubby and you would pull the black velvet tray out, and we just select what we wanted. We would always get a gift from Sable Diamonds. My mom would always get a beautiful piece around this time and give each of her children a piece from Sable Diamonds. I'm still wearing my pieces now. My sister is still wearing her pieces, even though my mom, dad, and oldest sister Queen are not with us.
Yes.
We just remember Barry and the great treatment. And Barry, you stood at my wedding. So
I did.
There's much love, family.
Always.
We are family,
Yeah.
and you just keep up the good work. I might not agree with all the subject matter, but you're a man
I'm
of
going to
your
convert
word, and
you.
I love
Relax.
for
You're a
you.
young lady. I've got time on my side. Listen, Pastor.
You're trying to convert me hard, man. You should hear the conversations when we're on the phone.
Oh, yeah, you won't believe it.
Of course.
Pastor Pamela, I love you, will always love you. Your family was so special to me. It helped build the character that I had on Sansom Street for so many years. I want to wish you a healthy and happy
My
New Year.
mother's smiling.
Yep, absolutely. She's smiling down, looking upon us.
Love you, Pamela, and I miss
God
you
bless
too.
Happy holidays to you all.
You too. Before I take Chris on the air, not quite yet, Beth, drones. You're friendly with Congressman Van Drew. Why don't you tell us what in the world is going on? Because I saw a drone on the air the other day. I mentioned I came home. It was about 10:30 at night. I look up in my community. There's a drone that's got to be the size of my SUV. I couldn't figure it out. It looked at me. I looked at it. It looked at me. I looked at it. 3 minutes later, it was gone. What is going on, Beth Sawyer, in your state of New Jersey? Can't you control things, Beth? I mean, come on. How are we going to reelect you again if you can't control things? Give me a break.
Well, I have to give credit for Jeff Van Drew, Congressman Van Drew, who is a good friend, who was willing to come out. I mean, everybody was fearful. You have Governor Murphy, who did not show up at a press conference. I had my former colleagues beside themselves. Some drove 3 hours to come hear some type of explanation of what was the governor going to do, the state police, to get answers out of our government. What in the world is going on? I've seen these drones as well. I've seen them all up and down the state.
Yep.
And, I was in Israel with Governor Huckabee, and I had the pleasure of meeting Katie Arrington. Katie Arrington was a former South Carolina House of Representative. She ran against Mark Sanford off the line, and she won a primary. Unfortunately, she lost her general election. Trump made her the head of cybersecurity, and she had talked about how the Iranians have taken over the Venezuelan Volkswagen plant, and they were making these drones. Now, this is a year and a half ago. She's telling me this in Israel, and she was talking about World War III, that this was going to be a different type of war with these drones, and now they're showing up. I believe that people are giving information to Jeff Van Drew. I don't think Jeff's going to come out and jeopardize his career.
Wrote a letter to Biden, didn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, this is crazy. We need answers. And the fact that they think now that they're putting out a state of emergency or saying that there's a no-fly zone, well, it's a little too late. These drones have been flying around since mid-November. They flew over Bedminster. Now you hear they're popping up in California. We need answers. And I'm going to tell you one thing for sure. We will get answers come January 20th.
No, you want to know my opinion? My opinion, it's a psyop. This is a government job because on one side of their mouths, they're telling us, we don't know what it is, but they're not dangerous. How do you know both? How do you know? You don't know who they are, but you don't also know they're not dangerous. And just immediately after this whole thing about the drones comes about, they already have laws written. Oh, we should pass this law. And you had Mayorkas out there talking about, yes, we need more authority. We need more authority. It reminded me right after 9/11 how the government was seeking to usurp more power. Give us this act and give us this so we can do this and have this secret FISA court and give us more authority. I believe our government is behind this because if they know they're not dangerous, that means they know more than they're telling us.
Steve, let me turn to you. Let me ask you a question. As you know, I went down to the border. There are a ton of Chinese nationals that have come into this country. There are a boatload of people that have come from the Middle East, people that are our foes. Don't you have to be concerned? Listen, you talk about conspiracy theories. Mike Tookus, it's real to me. Why would these people be coming into this country? You just don't get out of China. You just don't leave China. To me, there's malice thoughts, and the intent scares me. So therefore, why couldn't somebody pay somebody, okay, who's a Chinese national, to pay somebody to put a drone up there because maybe they can't get a permit, and the next thing you know, something happens. Our water, our electric grids, whatever else may be. We could be in big trouble, Steve Diorio.
There are many people out there right now residing in our country illegally who have nefarious plans for our country.
Big word, nefarious.
And they're going to be going after innocents, and that's what happened in Israel on October 7th. Innocent people were victimized.
They fell asleep,
The rest of the
Steve.
country we got over, we're not talking about. I think of it every day. Beth thinks of it, Dan, you. But the thing is, we're getting no straight answers from our state and federal government. You know why? Because they're in on it. And Donald Trump's going to turn everything upside down. But the problem is these drones can have a payload, a chemical weapon inside them. Even a nuclear. They deliver it over a building and a mall and wipe out.
Steve, when are we going to learn? 9/11 wasn't that long ago. Didn't we learn from that something could happen? These guys easily did destruction like that. This time it could be 100 times worse.
Again,
sad thing is people forget about 9/11.
This is the same administration that allowed a Chinese weather balloon to fly across our country without shooting it down until it got over to the Atlantic Ocean. This is absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd. Listen, guys, we're up against the break. Chris, don't go anywhere. I know you've been holding on, up and on. We will see you on the other side. Barry Sable and friends sitting in for Dawn Stensland, the only 1210 WPHT.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most: happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Yes, indeedy, 1210 WPHT. Sitting in for Dawn. More Barry, Sable, and Friends straight ahead. Chris, thanks for holding on. You are live on the air with Uncle Barry and Friends.
Hey, how's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
Listen,
thanks for holding and thanks for calling.
Yeah, I got a lot to unpack here. So let me. I actually called in to speak about the educational issues and the teachers unions and everything. But let me make quick and easy explanation of the drone question you guys were just talking about. There's a lot of chatter, right? Everybody has an opinion. So this is just my opinion, but I like to use simple logic when I can't figure stuff out.
Something that's not logical today. There's no common sense, but go ahead.
Yeah, good point.
Go ahead.
So two things. You have that many drones coming into our airspace. If that was a foreign actor, a state actor, Russia, China, Iran, that's an act of war, and we would be at war if that was the case.
That's an interesting point. Beth, you want to comment? Hold on 1 second. Beth, you want to comment to that, or do you want to leave this gentleman continue?
Let's let him continue.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Unlike the weather balloon, which if I'm a state actor, I could say, oh, whoops, the wind blew it outside of where I wanted it to go. Sorry about that. Right? Drones are actually controlled remotely, and they're intentional in their path and their directions that they go. So having that many drones up in the air, coming from a state actor would be an act of war. That'd be an issue.
But doesn't that intimidate you? Hold on 1 second, Chris. Doesn't that intimidate you to see you come home and you look in the sky and you see drones all over the place? Doesn't that unnerve you to a certain extent?
I don't know if unnerve, when you hear what I think it is, that unnerves me. Yeah. The other reason, by the way, just to finish the state actor issue.
Go ahead.
If I'm a foreign nefarious government trying to spy or whatever my motive is, I'm not having the FAA required lighting on the drones blinking, the red and the green. I'm obviously going dark and you wouldn't even see them. You might hear them, but you wouldn't see them. So another piece of evidence that suggests it's not as a state actor is who would have all their FAA required lighting on as they're flying around if you were trying to be inconspicuous.
Hold on. I do want to comment on that because there's been lots of reporting that they go black and all the lighting goes out and then they disappear.
Not only that, they're operating on a radio frequency that's unknown to our government. At least that's what they're telling us.
Right. Not only that, let me ask you a question. You had a balloon, you shot it down, and if it's true, and you guys could tell me, including Chris, that was a connection to China. That had something to do, I believe, with China. If I'm wrong, you could correct me. So therefore, if that existed and scrolled halfway around our country and we didn't think anything of it, and then we find, who knows what this may or may not be if you follow suit. Go ahead.
Exactly. Chris, go ahead and finish your thought.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so here's what I think it actually is. So drone swarms are a thing, right? Most militarily, but also you've seen drone swarms above the art museum when they're doing decorative lighting, presentation-like stuff. But it's the same logic. Yes, Iran does have three that I've read, 3 drone ships. They were regular. One of them, at least, was a Chinese ship that was converted, owned by Iran, but converted into a swarm drone ship. In other words, where they could be launched from and returned to. But all of that was debunked when all 3 of the known ships were reported via satellite in Iranian waters. What's more likely to me, which would also make sense, the government's reaction, when you're doing swarm tests, to me, it's only one of 2 things using deductive reasoning. A, if you're going to have drone swarms, you need to know how to manage them and fly them, so they could be exercises. And of course, you're not going to announce that to your citizenry, because then your state, actors that are your enemies start paying attention to what those drones are doing and how you're operating them in whatever test or drills that you're doing. Now, that might make some logical sense. I do not believe that is it, though that would make sense.
Yep.
The more likely thing.
Go ahead. I've got 30 seconds left for you. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, they're looking for something. And we've heard a lot of stuff about smart bombs. We've heard about nuclear, some type of nuclear materials have gone missing out of Newark. That would make all the sense in the world. And why wouldn't there's a lot of people say, oh, the government should tell us. But let's be honest. Do you think if the government says, okay, everybody, here's the truth. The truth is we lost some nuclear materials. We have no idea where it is. We don't know if it was just lost. We don't know if some bad actor got a hold of it. Oh, by the way, it's in New Jersey and New York. I could put up a very strong
California
argument.
too, my friend, and I don't know where else.
Yeah, that would be almost irresponsible to unleash that level of panic onto the citizenry.
Listen, Chris, go ahead. 10 more seconds I got to give you. I got to run. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries.
Listen, I know. Go ahead.
So that's all I was saying about that. I do want to get in one thing before you ditch me.
Go ahead.
Teachers' unions have long lived their purpose. You need to get rid of them. You guys were talking about that earlier. That's actually the reason why I wanted to call. They are anything is simple test. Is the thing you're talking about good for the kids or bad for the kids? If it's bad for the kids, you get rid of it. If it's good for the kids, you keep it. Teachers' unions are not good for the kids. They got to go. And until they go, the education system will be in disarray.
Listen, Chris, I'm going to be preempted. Barry Sable Show with Friends on Sunday mornings, as you know, for the next 2 weekends. I might just get out of this country. Brazil sounds interesting to me. Maybe when I come back on the 12th. You'd be gracious enough to call Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. I'd love to continue your thoughts on the education. Have a healthy and happy New Year. Great call. Thanks for calling in.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
Good job, Chris.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
Well, anybody want to comment to him, or do we go further to the next
He's too smart
topic?
for radio. I'll tell you, this guy, if more people thought like him, we wouldn't be in this pickle with spending $2 trillion more than what we're bringing in federal revenue.
Yep. I want to get to revenue in a minute, Steve, but I want to direct you in a different direction that upsets me. Mental illness and homelessness on our streets, Steve. Your thoughts on that? I know that you spend a lot of time with seniors. I know that which is not homeless, obviously, but you do provide meals during the holidays and other times of the year for the homeless. I'm a little concerned. We do not have insane asylums anymore. You saw what happened to Daniel Penny when the guy was in the subway. Listen, Daniel Penny could have ended up in jail forever. You know what I mean? 15 years for, I guess you want to call it murdering that guy. What are your thoughts? I think America and this administration has to do better with the mentally ill. And you saw the shooting the other day in Madison, Wisconsin, 14, 15-year-old girl. And what is in her right mind to take a gun and start shooting her fellow educational teachers and students and everything else? Go ahead, my brother.
I think it all starts in our upbringing, the way our parents raised us, number one. Then the schools, the last 20 years. When I was the president of the school board in Evesham Township, we passed the toughest bullying law. We had more people being bullied. These kids who are bullied in school, they may not run to their teachers. Sometimes they do. It falls on deaf ears. These kids become really disenfranchised from community, and they're out of touch. So their only way to get back is get that attention by hurting others who may have wronged them or bullied them, or a teacher who may have disrespected them. I'm concerned about mental health. This is a major issue in this country, especially with our veterans. We teach these people how to train overseas, fight, kill, watch their neighbor or their best friend get blown away. And what do we do when they come back? They fall through the cracks.
Beth, I know you have some interaction with Jack Ciattarelli, who is running for governor, and obviously Spady and who else may be Your thoughts on education, and as call it a Republican advocator, what are your thoughts on what Steve just said?
I'm glad you brought up I'm going to bring up the difference between Jack Ciattarelli and Bill Spadea. Bill Spadea endorsed Senator Vin Gopal and cost us 2 Republican Assembly seats and 1 possible Senate seat in last year's election.
Wow.
He endorsed Vin Gopal, who has been the pioneer of bringing all of this woke stuff into our school districts. When I first got elected and I was sworn in, I was brought to Trenton and sat down on what we call the reactive couch. And they pulled off material from the Department of Education's website that is going to be taught to our children. I was appalled. I could not believe what I was seeing, what was being taught to a kindergartner, that if they think that Sammy wants to be Sally or Sally wants to be Sammy, go tell your teacher.
Yep.
And they'll basically keep a secret from their parents and they'll start indoctrinating and transitioning these kids.
Terrible,
but what
Beth.
was even worse is when you got to the 5th grade program, showing a pornographic cartoon. Now, all because it looks like a Nickelodeon doesn't mean that it's not porn. I was blown away that this was right off the Department of Education, and that's when I knew I had to fight harder for our children. And I'm going to put it out there so everybody listening, that Bill Spadea endorsed this person, Senator Vin Gopal, who now has even more leverage at the state legislature to keep pushing this agenda. Jack Ciattarelli will always fight for our kids. He will stand up against this woke agenda that needs to be taken out of our schools. Parents are, listen, as a single mom, I always say God gives you what you can handle. I am very grateful that my kids are 29 and 30 years old. I would be fighting at those schools every single day, making sure that my children were not taught this woke stuff. This is conversations for parents, that this is where it starts. Here you have somebody that's having thoughts that they want to be a different sex. That is a mental health issue that should be handled by their parents. And now you have school systems saying that we are going to keep this secret away from the parents. Very dangerous.
Dan Cuellar, in my mind, well said. Dan Cuellar, in my mind. Beth Sawyer, looks like she's in the gym, talks about fighting. I believe she hits like a donkey. What are your thoughts on what she just said?
I echo everything she said. She's absolutely right.
Yep,
I mean, this craziness
I
about
want her fighting for
cutting
us.
the parents off from decision making and not knowing what your kids are being taught and told to do this and do that crazy stuff. And your parents are not allowed to know what's going on. This is an insane. What country are we living in, Beth? What country are we living in now? This feels like what would happen in a. I don't even know of a country that would allow this to happen.
Steve DiOrio, wake up over there. What's your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, I'm disturbed because if you notice, the last 40 years, doctors providing abortions make a ton of money and they kick it back to the Democrat Party. Now we're looking at something totally different. We're talking about puberty blockers, changing the gender from male to female, female to male, and before they're even 18 years old. The problem is now they become 19, 20. The girl might want to have babies someday. Her breasts are gone. The boy may want to do something. They wake up, they're 21, and they realize, who's behind this all? The school. And look at all these gender, all the where they have the gender surgeries. They're all shooting up everywhere. The East Coast, the West Coast. It's big
How have
money.
we gotten to this mess?
Where? How did it begin?
Money.
And again, the unions had a lot to do with this. When we're talking about the teachers' unions, these agendas are being pushed by communists, by Marxists, by people who are in control of these unions, teaching our kids to do this. And these scenarios that we're seeing, this is what's really going on in America today, and people need to wake up and pay attention.
Beth, let me tell you something. You don't have to win a war by using nuclear armory and stuff of that nature. All you have to do is get into the minds of young people. That's the beginning of winning of a nuclear war.
Well, this was a fight of good versus evil. I never wavered once from President Trump since he's come down that escalator. I always said this last election he was going to win in a landslide because I knew that this was a fight of good versus evil. And what does evil do? Evil attacks what is good. They've attacked our children, and at a very young age, they're attacking our militaries. Evil is trying to weaken us, but I knew that God was more powerful. God is good. God was not going to allow Israel to no longer exist. God was not going to allow the United States to go down in flames, and I knew that he would win. And now, January 20th is the start of something great. We are going to make this country great again. We are going to make our schools great again. We are going to make America healthy again. I think a large part of this mental illness starts with what we are putting in our bodies. the toxins that they are putting in our food.
I agree.
There are toxins being put in our food that they are not allowed in other countries.
Great example. My daughter pointed out to me, we had a loaf of bread, right, that we forgot about, and it's been sitting there for like weeks and weeks and has no mold.
Still fluffy
She
and
says,
white.
What's wrong with this loaf of bread? It should be all moldy now, and it's not. What chemicals are they putting in our food, for instance, bread, that it doesn't mold after being sitting on a shelf for weeks?
Being fed to our kids in schools. And kids, a lot of them, if you ask a lot of these kids that are in school, they're going to tell you they have brain fog. And that's because of what's being put in the carbohydrates, how they're crossbreeding the wheat, what they're spraying the wheat with. I am so excited for RFK Jr. to hit the ground running.
Yes.
You watch. My daughter gets what she calls Swedish candy. She goes to New York and she has it delivered from Sweden. And it's completely different than what they are giving the kids in the United States of America. It doesn't have those toxic food colorings in them or the gelatins that they're putting in there. And I can't wait for him to get in, start banning all these toxins from our country, from our food. And also, too, we also have to focus on getting people to want to major in psychological health in college. It's hard to find a guidance counselor anymore or somebody who wants to focus on mental health as their career because of what this country has done to it.
Good point. Listen, we're up against the break. There is no brain fog in this studio. Beth Sawyer, Steve DiOrio, Dan Quagliar, my guest today. We are sitting in for Dawn, Barry Sable. You don't need to get a word in edgewise. Go in the hallway and go putt. I've got 3 pros with me. We will see you on the other side of the break.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Luigi's not getting any Swedish fish in the joint. Luigi has for breakfast a choice of fruits, grits, bread, eggs, and coffee.
We have to remember, as these dummies on News Nation are like, hi, everybody, there's a person dead. It's, again, this idol worship. Do you guys see him? Is he watching? Like, they're giddy schoolgirls. Ugh.
Goes back to the big take this morning, the violence of the left, the irrelevance of the media.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Dawn Stensland here. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles feature the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. Sleek new designs and innovative features with thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business, with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
I'm Gary Barbera.
I'm Gary Barbera.
Season's greetings from the Barbera Bear family to your family. Is Fox Chase Cancer Center and U.S. Marines Toys for Tots the best? Boy, I guess. Boom, shakalaka.
Listen New Year's Eve as Penn State battles Boise State. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Yes, indeedy, we are back. You are listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. Sitting in for Dawn, Barry Sable, the former Diamond Authority. Here we are, Frank. Listen, guys, Dan, why don't you tell us tell the listeners what's going on.
This guy that was on the air calling in by phone, and I thought he was like far away somewhere, and the next thing you know, he pops in the studio. Frank is with us, a great grocer who's been in the grocery business for a gazillion years, and we were just talking about... Where were you at, Frank? You were running...
We had a meat shop on 10th and Snyder. Actually, was 2024 South 10th Street, and in 2020 we closed it up because my one brother and partner passed away in 2020.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah. And we also had a pastry shop. My 2 oldest brothers had a pastry shop on 12th and Fitzgerald for many, many years. we had a restaurant. My Uncle Benny had a restaurant.
Name. Go ahead.
Quinini's Restaurant.
Everybody knew on Broad Street, no?
Correct.
Yes.
My Uncle Benny had that restaurant.
I ate there many times,
and he's
Frank.
retired. My other cousin, Dodo, he still has a restaurant up in the Northeast, and he's up in there. He just opened another one in Delaware County.
Wow.
But we've been in the food business. My other uncle was in the construction business. Why? We have cousins in Australia. We just came back from Italy, visit my cousins over there and for the summertime.
Listen, are you adopting anybody? The four of us would love to eat better and healthier. Frank, you're our guy. Want to thank you for bringing food next door. Okay. Go ahead. Last thoughts. Go ahead, my brother.
And the tray that I just brought is homemade Gubba Gold, homemade supersize.
Oh, my God.
Cheese from Italy, from my hometown that comes in every year.
Wow.
Comes in from, it's sold in supermarkets today.
Wow.
You know, and then we also have some homemade wine that we make at my house.
I thought you were just joking when you said that.
Frank, I don't joke about food.
Frank.
Like I said, I've been in the food business since I was 13 years old. You know, not in business, but ever since 1975, when me and my brother Joe opened up the meat shop. My brother Pete and Pat, they opened a pastry shop in 1972. But all through our lives, we've been in the food business.
What an
On
interesting
my side,
guy.
my cousins, construction, and the restaurants. You know?
Listen, Barry Sable and Friends, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. We accept all kind of food. We'd love to have breakfast buffets. You're welcome. Come sit in studio with me. Love to help.
But not the
Love
next
to
2
have you.
weeks.
No,
Not
the next 2 weeks I'm on.
Now,
Exactly.
with the homemade wine, I make it one rule, one standard rule. While you're working, you can't drink it.
There you
After
go.
you get morning walking, there's bottles there.
Frank,
Thank you, Frank.
I want to thank you so much. No,
Merry
I'm Barry.
Christmas,
That's
Frank.
Dan. I'm the Barry.
Oh, you're the Barry.
I'm the guy. I did.
This guy right there.
There you go. Hold on. Let me get a hug. Listen.
I knew a couple jewelry shops.
I'm sure you did. Listen, thank you so much for bringing us food. A healthy and happy New Year, Frank.
Yes, put it on there. Put it on there.
Hey, Barry, can I say
Yes.
something about Dawn Stensland?
Please.
I got to tell you, she is such a leader and an anchor between her and Larry Menti.
Uh-huh.
They've been around for a while. They're great parents. They have 2 sons. It's always a joy to watch, to listen to her show.
Did you, wait a minute, Dan, did you get his telephone number?
I have
We're
it.
calling
I
this
have
guy.
his
It was my
cell
idea.
phone number. I have his office
Don't give it out to
number.
no girls, man.
You got all his
No
numbers.
girls, no
I've been
women.
married 40
No
years.
women,
We
huh?
don't want no more. We don't want no trouble.
But anyway, it's also we still have
You too, buddy.
I'll be on broad.
Thank
Thank
you
you for coming
sir.
in.
Go
we,
ahead.
we still have time
Okay?
left.
Go ahead.
All right.
And I just
Little
want
bit.
to say that it's such an honor to come to the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, Tasty Cake Studios. It's a great experience always at Odyssey, and so many people listen, and it's just a great. The advertisers.
Thank you.
Without the advertisers, we can't be on the air right
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Yes, I
So
love this
please
studio.
support the advertisers.
Judy from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You're live on the air with Uncle Barry and my friends this morning. Good morning, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. I just want to let you guys know we had a phenomenal time yesterday at the Holiday Senior Meal Program, giving out the meals to the seniors. They were so appreciative. It was just such a joyous occasion. I will tell you, Steve DiOrio, what a well-oiled machine you have there. Everything ran smoothly. Everybody got their meal. It was wonderful. So I wanted to thank you for letting us help you with that. Barry, where were you? You weren't there. I expected you to help deliver meals.
Yes.
But everyone have a wonderful, wonderful New Year. And Beth, I wanted to tell you, I am so excited to have RFK Jr. in there. I'm just thrilled that we can get food that doesn't poison us. So yay for
Absolutely.
that. That's it, guys.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Thanks
And
for your
Merry
help.
Christmas to you and your family.
You
Listen,
did an amazing job.
I just want Judy to know I had 10 people yesterday. I'm a single guy. You know what it's like to have to cook for 10 people and you don't know what you're doing in the kitchen? That's where Uncle Barry
wait
was.
a minute.
But I'm going to be there
Barry,
next
hold on
year.
a second. So you had a cater.
Of course. Of course. Of course I had a caterer. I'm Jewish. What are you talking about? Listen, guys, what I want to touch, we don't have a lot of time left. Okay. What I want to touch with the three of you is, what is the 10 most important issues that we have to resolve going forward? I know, and I don't want to talk just about the obvious. I know about the border. I know about inflation. I know about 2 wars. In your minds, let me lead out with you, Beth. What is the 2 things that cross your mind that are most important to you that you hope that this administration approaches in a way that you're satisfied because you are my friend?
I am looking forward to President Trump stopping the anti-Semitism that is spreading across this country, spreading across this world.
Yes.
You know, I was on a call with Governor Murphy and his wife, the head of Homeland Security and the state police, right before Rutgers allowed the first pro-Hamas rally to happen right after October 7th. And I had said that if this is a state-funded school, I was getting calls to my office from parents and staff and students that were in fear for their life, that they were watching this spread of anti-Semitism and what could I do to stop this protest that was going to happen. And, you know, saying to President Murphy or Governor Murphy that if you don't stop this, this is going to be the start of something so grotesque across this country. And that's really where it started. It started right in New Jersey at Rutgers at a state-funded school. So I'm looking forward to President Trump because I know he's going to put an end to it. You know, for the left to sit there and call this man Hitler, the next Hitler.
It's insulting.
It just enraged me. It was so disgusting, so insulting. But I do want to say thank you to President Trump. He couldn't have picked a better person in picking Governor Huckabee.
I was coming there. Yes. You read my mind. That's not right. You took my steam.
Ambassador to Israel.
Yeah, exactly.
I took my first trip ever to Israel with Governor Huckabee in August of 2023. And let me tell you something. Israel is gorgeous. You want to talk about a spiritual, unbelievable trip. I did all of the Jewish things.
Did you get the Masada?
I did.
Dead Sea?
I did. We went to Masada. We were in Eilat. We were all over. I got to go to a K-9 unit. We were there with the Brigadier General Avivi, who started the IDF. We were with members and ministers of the Knesset. It was one of the most rewarding trips of a lifetime. We went through Yad Vashem, which I remember walking out there, how heavy I felt, thinking, how could this ever happen? It will never happen again. And then October 7th happened right after. And I'm thank you, President Trump, for always having Israel's back. That's what I'm looking forward to, seeing that our ally is protected, because that's what God wants.
Of course, Dan Quellier, I used to go to Israel many times. As you know, I purchased diamonds from Israel, was in Belgium, and went throughout Israel. And to me, to see a desert and crops growing in a desert, I mean, come on, this is manna from heaven.
That's amazing.
Have you been in Israel, Dan?
No, I have not, and that's on my bucket list.
Well, can we go together? Let's take
Let's do it.
Let's go. Amazing,
you want to take the Uriah
I
or
would
no?
love to. Well, I don't know about Steve.
Amazing olive oil comes from
Israel.
Israel.
But Beth, for sure.
Yep.
And remember, it was Trump who moved our embassy to Jerusalem.
I was there, too.
During his first administration.
Yep.
That's how far back Trump goes with Israel. Israel, he feels, and we support him 100%, that Israel is our very most important ally in the Middle East, of course.
And look what the IDF has done so quickly with all these terrorists.
They have done. Look what they have done.
Pretty much wiped them all out.
Almost wiped them all out. And he promises to do, the prime minister, to the others who are not, cooperating, the same thing to them.
But you know what bothers me, Steve? You have hostages that have been there since October 7th, a year ago. That's basically 15 months. Americans and Israeli. Right. Where has this administration, and why have they not pursued that? I could tell you something. What are you looking for, Rambo? Yeah, I guess Trump has got to be your Rambo. He said by January 20th, hell is coming, no different than the movie Tombstone. Right. Hell is coming with me. And I have to tell you the truth. Why do we have to wait that long, Steve? I mean, Hanukkah just passed. Christmas just passed. Why are we still waiting? Why hasn't this administration put pressure on Iran, who is the head of the snake?
Fair. One reason, because Barack Obama hates colonialism and he hates Israel. That's the bottom line. This is his third administration right now. I think what we need to do, think about this. We hear so much about we can't do this, we can't do that. If Donald Trump had his second term, Israel would have never been invaded by Hamas, and you would not be talking about the Ukraine war. Yep. Innocents have died, hundreds of thousands of people by the time we're going to add it all up with Ukraine and Russia, all because of a weak United States government.
Dan, before we take a break, Ukraine war, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have gotten killed there. Why don't you see protests in the United States of America against this Russia-Ukraine war? And why not, Dan?
And yet they say that Trump, when he was elected, he was going to start all these wars. He's been trying to end these wars. Yep. And they, when they said that Ukraine didn't want peace, our government went in there. Like, Russia had this list, says these are the things we will not allow you to do. And one of those things they said they would not allow is Ukraine joining NATO. And what does Kamala do? She goes in there and at the start of the Biden administration almost and says, we need Ukraine and NATO. Well, of course, then they took over this and they took over that. And you have the disaster that we have right now. And I just can't wait for January 20th because Trump has a big agenda to get us out of these never-ending wars.
Yep. You have been listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. Barry Sable sitting in for Dawn, 1210 WPHT. We will see you on the other side of the break.
Do you lay awake at night worrying about what to buy everyone on your holiday list? Yeah, it's stressful. And half the time you don't even get the right thing. Well, Skechers is here for a holiday rescue with hands-free Skechers slip-ins. The right gift for everyone on your list. Think about it. People love their shoes. And once they try hands-free Skechers slip-ins, it takes that love to a whole new level. Why? Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching your shoes, no retying laces. Plus, Skechers slip-ins are perfect for everyone. Moms, dads, grandparents, kids, friends, coworkers. Just sneak into their closet, get their shoe size, and you're good to go. Plus, they come in everyone's favorite styles and colors, from sneakers to casual shoes, even winter boots. And they look so stylish, and they're the most comfortable shoes they'll ever wear. So, this season, save time, quit your worrying, and get everyone on your list hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Holiday crisis averted. Now go get some rest. Find them for the holidays at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
I'm Bev. My husband Bill is living with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a type of interstitial lung disease that can scar your lungs and make it hard to breathe. ILD can be hard to diagnose. If you're out of breath with a constant dry cough, ask a pulmonologist if it could be ILD. Bill and I have been married for over 60 years, and we're looking forward to more. If you or someone you love may have ILD, find support, hope, and help at lungsandyou.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. They're almost here. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has a lot of ways to pick up that W. Not only can you bet on who will win the game, you can also put bets on which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and a lot more. So visit FanDuel.com/Dom. This way you're all set up for the biggest games of the year. That's FanDuel.com/Dom for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Is quality high-end furniture on your holiday shopping list? Don't miss the Christmas sale at Bucks County Estate Traders. Enjoy shopping well-crafted, stunning pieces that will elevate any room in your home. Save thousands of dollars on items from top manufacturers, all available for pickup right now. Each of the over 16,000 pieces includes its own QR code that puts its information at your fingertips. And their team of knowledgeable professionals provides a relaxed and rewarding experience. Hurry in and save. Visit BucksCountyEstateTraders.com or their showroom in Hatfield.
If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, write this number down or put it into your phone. 800-411-2215. The IRS is hiring more staff and cracking down. Call Tax Relief Helpers now to learn about our tax debt reduction programs and how to stop the collection efforts. If you're facing liens, levies, an audit, wage garnishment, or years of unpaid taxes, even if you're already in a payment plan, we can help. Through special IRS programs, you may qualify to have your tax debt settled for a fraction of what you owe. Tax Relief Helpers has helped thousands of taxpayers qualify for these generous relief programs, earning an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. No matter what amount you or your business owe to the IRS, call our tax relief hotline now for a free consultation and see what savings you may qualify for. Don't tackle the IRS on your own, and don't risk having your wages, Social Security, even your pension seized. Call now. Call 800-411-2215. That's 800-411-2215. 800-411-2215.
Free speech lives here with Kale and Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Yes, indeedy, Barry Sable and friends sitting in for the one, the only Dawn Stensland. I want to thank Frank again, guys. We haven't seen that food yet.
Oh, we haven't seen the food yet.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. Bill, you were live on the air. Thanks for holding from Atlantic City. Quickly, I've got a minute and a half for you. What do you have for me, my friend?
All right, two questions, Barry.
Yes.
First one, teachers. How come since like the mid '60s, like you are talking about the stuff going on now, that the children's grades have gone down, like way down, and their salaries have gone up? Like, how do they justify that?
Yep. And question number 2.
Question number 2. Do you know who I am?
Help me. Listen, I'm 73. I'm starting to forget. Huh?
I know you since I'm 13. I know you're old. Listen, when you were back in school in the 30s, okay, they didn't get to that yet.
Yes.
I worked for you. Come on, you don't know me?
Oh, my God. Listen, why you have to date me in front of this audience? PHT won't let me live on the air anymore. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm calling to see if I can jump on that trip to Rio with you.
Come on, let's go. This is my pleasure. Listen, business class
you're the guy
round
that got
trip.
me to go the first time I went.
Listen, I want to thank you for your call. I'm going to let you hang up and listen. Beth, I'm going to direct Bill's call to you.
Well, a lot of it has been focused on the standardized testing, right? They're just shoving information down their throats to get them to pass these tests.
Yep.
A lot of the funding comes based off of the test scores. We need to get back to allowing teachers to teach. We need to be focusing more on vocational schools. Not everybody's meant to go to college.
No.
One of the first bills I ever got passed as a state legislator was taking $1 million out of the state budget and putting it back into vocational schools so these kids could get their credits for their apprenticeships.
Trade schools.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
So when they graduated,
Yep.
they were at the top of the pile for these unions for getting some type of job, which would bring instant income into their families.
Oh, I agree.
I'm a strong proponent of vocational schools. My dad was in the union. He was a bricklayer and a carpenter. We need to focus more on that.
Yep.
We need to get back to teaching abstinence in these schools. When we had sex ed, we were not talking about all these different things that they're putting. I can't even say it on the air. And two, without getting embarrassed, what they talk about and try to teach these kids.
Of course.
We need to bring it back to basics. Let teachers be teachers. Let parents be parents. And this should be a big focus. And that's what I'm going to say again is the difference between Jack Ciattarelli and Bill Spadea running for governor.
There you go.
Jack Ciattarelli will not endorse this kind of behavior where Bill Spadea pushed this behavior. He says he's
Jack,
pro-parent.
hire this young lady, Jack. This guy supports you more than anybody I know. Dan, I want you to comment. Sorry to interrupt, Beth. I want you to comment to trade schools, bricklayers, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, car mechanics. There's so many great trades that today are producing great incomes. I'm with you, Beth. We had them. Listen, I built homes around Roxborough, and Roxborough used to be that type of educational school. Your thoughts, my brother?
I believe 100% in what Beth was saying. We need to bring back and prioritize these trade schools because not everyone is a mathematician. Math was my worst subject. Oh, my God. I couldn't do math. That was like, it didn't make any sense to me. And yet, there are other trades for people like me with
No, you had plenty of trades. You were doing that for 30 years.
I
Can
was
say
doing
something?
the broadcasting.
If you
thing. It
didn't
was
lose
by
all your
accident.
hair, you could have stayed on the air.
It was by accident because I wanted to play music on the radio. I loved music.
You're
and
a
I wanted to
libertarian,
share
man.
it
They had
with
to
other
get rid of
people.
you.
And
They
so
couldn't
I was
withstand it.
minding
TV
my
could-
own business, playing records on the air.
Yeah.
And one day I get a call from a guy that I used to work with. He became the GM of this little tiny TV station in Texas where I grew up. And he called me on the phone and says, "Hey, I think I have a job you could do." And the next thing you know, I'm in television. So it was by accident. It really was. But
Dan, you
I
grew up
enjoyed
in Texas with no Texan accent. Now
well,
that
that took a lot
That's
of
a
practice
talent.
because when I first got to Philadelphia, I had to lose a lot of the words that we said, like insurance. Not no, it's not insurance, it's insurance.
Right.
And things like that because I had that Texas accent. So I had to be reminded by executive producers and call me on the phone. No, we don't say it that way. We say it this way. So it took a lot of practice to lose the accent.
Before I forget,
what's that?
You individually.
And by the way,
or
my Texas colleagues always accuse me of being a carpetbagger because I talk so fast on the air. They said, "Oh, you must be from New York." Those people up there, they just talk real fast.
nobody,
and I said, "Well, I don't know. That's just the way."
Nobody can fall asleep on you. Listen, once again, you have to promise me.
What's that?
1210 WPHT. 10 o'clock in the morning, Barry Sable and friends, I want you back because we have never had an opportunity to sit and hear about all of your investigative stories overseas.
It would
it's
be my
fascinating.
pleasure. It
my
would be
pleasure.
my pleasure to do it.
Steve Diora, your turn. What are we doing that's important to you? I know we wanted to touch on freedom of speech with Dan, but I guess I'm going to have to let you do that for us.
Well, we're going to have freedom of speech back. It's been so, I guess, shoved aside over the last 4 years. That's why Elon Musk, God bless him, for coming in and buying Twitter.
Yes.
That may have saved the election. Right. But, the bottom line, in our schools, it should be about education, not indoctrination. We're trying to teach these kids, steer them in a certain direction. We need to get these kids educated. I've been an advocate since 2010 on the radio for all high schools to have their junior and senior year of some sort of vocation. Can you imagine the influx of workers who have a work ethic and a trade?
Here's my thoughts on that. We have a lot of people that are migrating into this country, and we pay people to stay home and not work. We need to take all Americans and educate them and get them better suited for jobs in America. There's no question that we could use people from foreign countries that offer great trades and things of that nature. But to be honest with you, America first. We need to put Americans back to work. Less unemployment, less people on the streets, can I tell you something? Less homeless. When are we, Beth, going to wake up for America's people first? I know Trump talked about it. I hope with the sealing of the borders and unfortunately with the deportation of some people, I want to see all Americans have a better lifestyle. Help me, Beth.
Well, I want to start off by saying no veteran should be homeless in this country. Not
Hear, hear.
one veteran should be homeless.
Yes.
We should be taking care of our seniors and our veterans. And, I want to see more of that. And I think President Trump is going to focus more on that. We have spent billions and billions and billions and billions, and I can keep saying that over and over again, of money to these foreign countries.
Yep.
Just what President Biden just did in Angola. That you have
unbelievable $1 billion, Beth.
And look what you have happening. Again, I'll bring up in North Carolina. These people are being forced out. FEMA's leaving North Carolina January 10th. I spoke to these people one-on-one. They don't know where they're going to go live. They either lost their house completely, or it's filled with mold, or it's filled with mud. They have nowhere to go. We should be focusing on helping our kids. I just want to point out I have a very good friend that's on Doge with Elon Musk, and I told him he's got one thing and one thing only that's on the top of my bucket list, and that's to arrange a dinner with me and Elon Musk.
Yeah,
That's my unicorn.
Hold on. There's three of us here. Listen, there's
hey, you're
three
all
here.
Invited.
There you
you're
go.
all invited.
You heard
I
it,
just
Dan.
want to sit at the dinner table with the most brilliant man on the planet.
Me too.
But I'm super excited that my friend Dominic, who's a fellow member of the Union League, is going to be on Doge. He's in charge of the auditing of all the money that went out to Ukraine. I think what we need to do is wake up people, be transparent, bring them the truth. People say you can't handle the truth. No, we are ready for the truth.
Jack Nicholson movie. Listen, Jim, can I take a break? I'd rather preserve some time at the end. You are listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. Barry Sable and my special guest this morning, sitting in for Dawn. We'll see you on the other side.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Hey, Philadelphia, they shut down Christmas Village. The mayor was speaking out about that just when we're making this great comeback in the city.
Not to defend Sherrell Parker by any stretch, but the mayor's only like a third of the equation. You have a chief of police, you have a district attorney. Sherrell can say one thing, but if Larry Krasner does another thing, and then of course we know the way that the police have been neutered, you got to have everybody on the same playbook. And if you're not on the same playbook, you're not going to achieve your goal in getting crime to where you believe it should be the, quote, acceptable number.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, everyone. This is Dom Giordano here with my friend and dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Dental Group. Dr. Bentz talked about your cutting-edge, state-of-the-art care. Why is that so vital?
It sure helps me diagnose and elevate the level of care I can offer from using the latest technology. I use it on a normal, everyday basis. I can see things that it's not misdiagnosed, but you can't see something that won't allow you to. So I feel if I can't utilize what's out there, and it takes a lot to be trained on it, feel comfortable, that can work for not just these advanced cases, but it gives you a very consistent, efficient, and predictable result.
Dr. Bentz and the team at Bentz Dental Group provide solutions for the most complex dental cases. Call Dr. Bentz today, 610-272-6949, or visit BentzDentalGroup.com. Bentz Dental Group, say it with a smile.
Let cold season make you miserable. Try the quick drug-free solution for nasal congestion, Navage. Navage uses gentle suction to flush out your sinuses with refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all winter long. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at select warehouse clubs in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local retailer today. Navage, Navage, breathe easy.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Buy low, sell high. It's a cardinal rule of investing. With the market near record highs, you need a proven system that protects what you have earned without sacrificing opportunity for growth.
Jim O'Neill, Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. With the stock market at record highs, I would recommend taking your money and put it into a crash-proof retirement system. This year, I have earned over 14%, and it can't be taken away.
Gail Schlosser, and I started with Crash Proof Retirement in 2016. I'm getting great returns, up to 12 to 15%, and it's not going to dwindle away in the stock market.
Regina Kukulski, Langhorne. This year, I earned 10.5% interest. I feel really good looking at that because it's not money I lost.
Dolores Queen, Hatboro, Pennsylvania. We have outperformed the market this year, and when we earn 14%, it's ours to keep.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
As America's first superhighway, the PA Turnpike has driven innovation by drilling tunnels through mountains, building bridges over valleys, and expanding lanes for 500,000 customers daily. Today, the PA Turnpike is driven to make your trip easier than ever. Open road tolling eliminates the stop and go of traditional tolling, increases safety, and reduces environmental impact. Plus, have even more confidence that you'll arrive on time. Visit paturnpike.com/ORT.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I cannot believe we've got 10 minutes left for our 2-hour session. Barry Sable sitting in for Dawn Stensland with favorite people of mine. Beth Sawyer, you brought beauty to this group because the three of us are stone ugly. Steve DiOrio sitting with me. Dan, okay, you're not so bad. Okay, but Steve and I are just...
We're rough.
We're rough, exactly. We're rough.
We're old. We're old.
We are old. Good hearts. Listen, Beth, why don't I give you a few seconds before we close, because I'm going to give you a closing as well. What is really on your mind? Give me 30 seconds going forward. I know that you're going to be running again. Why don't you quickly give us an update on that?
So I'm going to be running for re-election for my New Jersey Assembly seat in the legislative 3rd District. Looking very forward to that.
Great.
I took out John Berticelli in 2021, and I plan on taking my seat back from Heather Simmons in 2025, along with Jack Ciattarelli as our future governor of New Jersey. New Jersey needs Republican leadership. We came so close to President Trump flipping New Jersey red, And I believe that we had some rhinos working against President Trump, along with Chris Christie and that whole group. You know who you are, and we're going to come stronger than ever. I got a good team around me. I got my friend Steve Diorio here, and Dan, and of course, you,
Heavy
Barry.
hitters. Yep.
And, I have a lot of people rooting for me to get back in. I think I did a great job when I was there as a freshman legislator.
Beth.
Yes,
You
yes.
care. You're a patriot. You're a real patriot. And you do the things that all of us should be doing. Go ahead, Diorio. I know you got your hands up. You
No.
have something to say. Go ahead.
Beth and I have only been friends for about a year and a half, maybe a little longer. She's an amazing person. She's so inspiring. She does so many things behind the scenes that elected officials just don't do. She served her constituents, and they've been crying to her to run, and she's been waiting to see because she's enjoying being back in business, spending more time with her kids. But you know what? She's destined to be a leader, and I'm counting on her being
Listen, I want you to
reelected.
know,
Steve.
I know you outweigh me by a good 75 or 80 pounds. I would fight you for her. I just want you to know.
Let's
Dan,
wrestle.
help me out. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I tell you, to be honest with you, the first time I heard Beth on the radio, it was on Steve's show. I thought it was this little old lady. But she was so brilliant that when I went on, I said, "Who was that lady?" Because I didn't know who she was. And then I met her in person, and I was stunned. I said,
Great, I
"I'm
sound like
sorry."
a little old lady.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing.
But a
sweet
very
little
smart little
I
old lady,
did a
very
show with her.
intelligent,
Yep.
who made a lot of sense when
Yep.
I heard her on the radio before I went on Steve's show so many moons ago.
Yep.
But I swear, I said, "Who is this lady? She's great. She makes a lot of sense."
Yes, she does.
And when I said to
Practical.
Steve told me, "Oh, she used to be." I said, "Used to be? She should be. She should be in office right now." Remember that, Steve?
Hey, Steve.
So we're going to get you back in office, Beth.
Thank you.
We're going
I
to get you back
appreciate
in
it,
office.
Dan.
We're all going to be there. And Scott Pressler, one of Steve's
Yes.
friends, is going to be there. We're going to register more
gonna help her.
Republicans and
He's
get all
coming
the
to
help
New
we
Jersey.
need to get you back in
Looking
office.
forward to getting Scott and Augie
Right,
to
right.
South Jersey.
Hey, Steve, how about you say to me, hey, listen, Beth Sawyer's sitting in for me. So you said to me, can you come down and sit in with her for about an
Absolutely.
hour? What a loquacious lady.
You jumped all
I
over
barely
it.
could get one word in. She knows everything about everything. Frankly, let me tell you, you have no buffet down there. You have no tasty cake rack like we have here. I was bored because I'm listening. I'm marveled by her.
I did leave you a sore throat lozenge before I
I didn't need it. She did all the talking and
That's right.
thinking. You know, go ahead,
Well,
Beth. You're
thank
back
you.
up. Go ahead. You're back up to. We have a little time. Go ahead, Beth.
No,
What else is
I'm
on
very
your
excited.
mind?
My term ended in January,
Uh-huh.
and I've been watching who took our seats, and they really have not done a great job. So it's not going to be personal attacks. We're going to hit them on their record, and I have to say their record does not speak for them in a positive way. I've been paying attention to what's been going on at the state. I've been staying in contact with my former colleagues. And there's a lot of people that we really helped out. I have to give kudos to my staff. Zach, Marguerite, and Lawrence were phenomenal. We did so much for South Jersey and for the state of New Jersey.
And we'll continue.
And looking forward to getting back in there and hitting the ground running.
Steve, we need better
you go.
politicians. Okay,
Yes.
we need more people like Beth that know the facts, know the history, know what it's important to get done. One of the reasons I think we're losing elections, and I'm not saying I'm a Republican, I'm saying that I'm trying to hit the ball down the middle of the fairway, but right now we're on the right side. We need better qualified politicians. People think, let me put my name in the ringer, and it's easy. No, it's not easy to be a good politician. You see all the corruption, Steve.
That's
We
right.
need better qualified people. Dan.
I agree. I agree 100%. We have so much corruption. Elon Musk has done a lot to help us expose that corruption because everyone was being censored and not allowed to speak the truth, as Beth so eloquently pointed out a few moments ago. So I think we're in the right direction. I really think we're in the right direction. And with Elon there and Vivek helping Trump get our economy back in shape, our borders shut down, and I see so many great things happening in 2025 for America.
Yeah, I think the future's bright. And I have to tell you, Steve, I think the one thing I like to see people like Beth push is for the beautification of this country, A, and for the better lives of Americans. What does that mean? Give us the best that America could give us. Let's stop spending all of our money overseas and improving everybody else's lives. Even better than that, they're just in wars. Feudal wars for nothing. For
America
nothing.
first.
Yep, huh?
America first. I was
America
a
first.
Big part of America First Republicans in this last election. We got over 10,000 signatures to get President Trump on the ballot in New Jersey. The momentum that we had in New Jersey for
Wildwood,
President Trump.
Beth. How about
Wildwood
Wildwood?
was
100,000
phenomenal.
people.
It's phenomenal, but people are so
It was more than that.
excited.
Yep.
We're excited to have President Trump back
Yeah.
in the White House.
And the proof of the pudding is, look how the landslide took place. You look the electoral votes. My God,
And
was
he won the
incredible.
popular vote.
And isn't that something, Steve? Go ahead.
It's amazing. We were all. Well,
What's that
you were
hat,
there. I was-
incidentally? What's on there? A
It's
ribbon?
my son Robert's hat, and
Oh,
it's,
my
it's
God,
a
I
holiday
just
ribbon.
noticed, for
I
God's
know, I'm a
sakes.
tough guy. I look like Liberace.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I know we're getting tight on the clock. Let me just say real quick.
We are.
A shout out to Lissio's Bakery. They're
Mhm.
based
Oh,
in
yes.
South Jersey. Chad Velati is a friend of Beth's.
Yep.
It's
Thank you,
amazing.
Chad.
They give us
Yep.
pastries and rolls for thousands of seniors. Gary Galloway in Vineland is a good friend. Adelphia's Billy Ballots cooks dozens and dozens of turkeys. But most of all, I'd be nothing without the volunteers. Thousands of volunteers, and you've all been in the kitchens before.
Yep.
And you've worked on the holidays. I can't thank them enough, my family and everybody who gets involved. So I'm going to challenge everybody. Be a doer of good deeds. Get involved in your neighborhood. People need you right under your nose.
I love it.
Just look
Amen.
for them.
Dan,
And
what,
amazing
Dan
job.
Quayer, what's with the pennies deal? What's that called, Steve, that charity?
Pennies in action.
Tell us. We have to
Dendritic
start
cell
the
research.
wrap.
It's using your own body to fight cancer because cancer is so evasive, so elusive in your body that your body doesn't recognize it's the enemy. And so it's eating and eating away. And then we have these therapies, chemotherapy, but it also kills the bad cells. With dendritic cell therapy, it uses your own immune system. They take your cells, reprogram to let them know this is cancer. This is the enemy. You need to go back in there and fight. And so they put the cells back in your body, and the next thing you know, it's eradicating cancer. It is very promising research. It's cutting-edge technology, and we need to support this. I believe we're going to find a cure for cancer in our lifetime.
Yep. Beth Sawyer, thank you for joining me. 15 seconds. You're the beauty of this group. Give me your last thoughts before we go.
Everybody, we just came off a big election. We're going into another big one in 2025. Get ready, get registered, get your family and friends
There you go.
registered. New
We're
Jersey
wrapping
needs
up.
you.
Steve Dura, 10 seconds, please.
Please, folks, take care of your neighbors and your loved one because you know what? It's a lonely time of year. God bless everybody.
Dan Quayer, 10 seconds.
Let us also hold in our hearts the brave men and women serving in our armed forces around the world.
Wow.
Their dedication to protecting our freedoms and keeping us safe is a reminder of the sacrifices made for the blessings we enjoy.
Amen.
Listen, I want to thank Greg Stocker for having me on air, sitting in for Dawn. Was the day before Christmas, the day after. What a privilege. You have been listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. Barry Sable and friends. Thank you, Dan Quayle. Thank you, Steve DiOrio. The luxurious and beautiful Beth Sawyer.
Thank you,
Barry
Barry.
Sable and friends, we will not see you until January 10th. Don't forget us. We are looking for you. Healthy and happy New Year, Philly. Go, 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 Eagles!
Go Birds.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax